lot on his plate as well, but he's not trying to let the side down. He's trying to inspire the rest of the guys, and that's one of the things that a coach should do. And you know, he's a good hard worker, and he'll do a tremendous job.
Is it going to stay very physical as well? Is it going to stay very physical as well, Bob?
I think it will be a very physical game. Sheffield certainly know that they have to keep that sort of game plan in their mode if they're going to be successful here.
Okay, well, Bob is going to go down and join Tony Millard, our commentator, for the second period. 2-2 is the scoreline after the first period. We've got 2 periods to come, live and exclusive here on Sky. This first semi-final. We've got another semi-final coming tomorrow, by the way, as well. But right now, with the 2 teams out on the ice, let's rejoin our commentator, Tony Millard.
Yes, and if we have a second period like the first, who knows what should happen. John McGrone has been so busy in goal here tonight. Bernie McGrone, actually, for Five Flyers. Derek King, of course, influential on defence. Stephen King, too, one of the best scorers in Scotland for the home-based players. Mark Morrison, already so impressive here. The captain, Ian Robertson, and big Doug Marsden. And so prolific is Chris Palmer with 23 goals so far in this competition. The Sheffield Steelers, David Graham, he's in goal for them. Of course, the 36-year-old has come back from Solihull. Tim Cranston, so influential in the starting lineup. Steve Nemeth and Ken Priestley, great players. Mike O'Connor, the big defenseman. Chris Kellen, so experienced. And Les Billy back against his own club, along with captain Ron Shudra. So, the second period, the face-off. 2-2 the score here in the Kirkcaldy Ice Arena. This should be something special as we go into this period, and the first goal surely going to be vital. As here comes Kellen for the Sheffield Steelers. Flips the puck deep into the Five Flyers zone, and McCrone gets down to it to hold it well. The first goal could be mighty important here, Bob.
Fife going into the interval in the first period, scoring a very late goal on Mark Morrison, and this will be playing in the minds of the Sheffield club. Clearly, when you score a goal at the end of a period or the beginning of the next period, that kind of sets the tempo or the stage of what's going to happen.
Back on the blue line for the Steelers, a shot away. McCrone watches it go, and round behind the net. There's a shot. Some people might suggest a bit of hooking there, and it's really upset Tommy Plummer. But here, can they get it back on point to O'Connor? O'Connor gets the shot away. Rebounds off Chin. Chin flanks Blues, and the puck is taken outside of the zone. The face-off here for the Steelers to win. They're going to change their lines here. And Chris Kellen is querying the decision with referee Drew Fraser.
There's an interesting call. Mike O'Connor just getting that shot from his point or defensive position and going behind and hitting the barrier and going on the back of the net. As a result of that, the puck comes out into the neutralized territory where the face-off will in fact occur. Sheffield may argue that, Tony, in the sense that they feel that Fife maybe have touched it, but clearly it wasn't.
Nemeth gets the puck into the zone, but quickly brought out by the so influential Mark Morrison for Five Flyers to send Frank Morris away. Morris round behind the net, gets it out on the edge of the crease. Nobody following up, but Marsden eventually does, and that allows it to fall to Morris, who turns back and tries to find it on the far side, but eventually it's gone away by Tony Hand. The pass is shade inaccurate. The icing call takes the puck back into the Steelers' defensive zone.
Both of these teams play a very good passing game. And that's one of the reasons why we see people like Ken Priestley playing high all the time in a neutralized zone, because they know if their defense get the puck, they're going to move it up very quickly, and they're going to have a very good goal-scoring opportunity or very good offensive chance.
Well, the chance here could come the way of the Flyers, because they have the puck deep in the Steelers' zone as Tony Hand goes to take it round behind his own net to try and send the Steelers away on the attack. Flips it inside to Neil Abel. Abel finds space to Nemeth. Nemeth scoring the first goal, gets it to Hand, scoring the second. Hand has Nemeth on his left. Nemeth fails to control it as he takes the puck into the corner. They follow in, but somehow the Flyers clear it away to Abel on his own blue line for the Sheffield Steelers. He tries to set them on the way. Nemeth gets away on the flick from Priestley, turns it across to Tony Hand, and Hand loses control of that one. Eventually the puck goes out over the boards. Tony Hand so influential in this game, and the second goal that he came up with as he came off the penalty bench was the piece of interception of the highest class, Bob.
Well, anytime there are goals to be scored, Tony Hand's usually in the picture frame there. I mean, that's one of the things that he does so very, very well. As we've said before, he is so creative with the puck. He creates so many scoring opportunities, and this is what makes him the dominant force that he is.
Already 19 goals for him in the Benson & Hedges Cup so far this year, but here comes another influential man, the captain, Shudra, for the Steelers, but he too loses possession, and the puck is taken right back up the other end to the Flyers' defensive zone on that icing call. Hockey thick and fast here, and how big an advantage, Bob, is playing at home, because Flyers, of course, came out with the crowd behind them, with the young Scots in their starting lineup. Certainly a home advantage counting perhaps there.
Oh, it does. I mean, it has a tremendous influence on the players, and the reason being is because of that hometown support. You've got people cheering you on, 2,000-3,000 people. That's got to put some adrenaline forward and create some opportunity for you out there.
Well, the drums are certainly playing there for the Five Flyers, but here comes the Sheffield Steelers. Can they get it down at the zone? Here come the Flyers indeed, and Robertson chases up. Wilson is with him. King is just behind him, gets the shot away, but it's blocked. But away in turn this time comes Scotty Neal with Tony Hand. Their cousins, telepathic, they say. Les Biddy with him. He used to play for Five Flyers, takes his man into the boards and away round behind the net come the Flyers to start once again. This time Derek King getting it away. With Ian Robertson, the captain. Robertson gets his shot away, but Wilson skated too quickly into the zone, which means the face-off is taken outside the defensive zone on that narrow offside call.
Ian Robertson, the Great Britain international, and a former Young British Player of the Year. This was an award that was given up until before last season, whereby a young British player, the best young British player they felt that season, was given opportunity to go to the training camp of the Calgary Flames of the National Hockey League and gain some experience by it. Ian Robertson was one of those young players.
And he's the player taking the face-off for the Five Flyers as the puck is played deep into the Steelers zone, with Ron Shudra collecting it behind his own net and trying to set things going again. He has Plummer in front of him. He has Cranston on his left. Cranston is skating hard as Shudra takes it over the red line. They chase it after it. Slightly different tactics been adopted here by the Steelers. Getting the puck in the zone. Let's all chase after it. As the captain, Robertson, once again collects it round behind his own net for Five Flyers and brings it out. Sells a dummy to Nicky Chin. Finds Stephen King on his right. King has Wilson skating hard in front of him. It's collected by Neil Abel to Cranston. Cranston sets the Steelers on the way as Derek King takes it out of his defensive zone but can't find his man. Although good skating by Morrison wins it back. Morrison so influential now on the Five Flyers team as player coach. On and off the ring, he's got work to do.
Davy Graham coming into this game, the 36-year-old coach of the Solihull Barons in the British First Division, and he's in helping out on that ruling where if a goaltender is injured, a team is allowed or enabled to pick up another goalkeeper, which Alex Dampier and the Sheffield Steelers has decided that that's going to be Davy Graham this evening. And he's got a lot of experience. He'll help them in a game of this situation.
And he's on the defensive at the moment as the Flyers keep it in, and Marsden gets the shot away, but it's off target here. But Marsden covers well. It's cleared out of the defensive zone, and here comes Palmer. Unnecessary that, and perhaps causing problems, but surely that puck fetched out by Priestley in the offside call on the blue line for the Five Flyers. Really, the Flyers perhaps surprising the Steelers, because the Steelers this season, generally with a couple of exceptions, have been so hot. But Five Flyers in their home ice must be something to contend with.
They are. They're coming off a very good weekend last weekend as well, you know, where they had a big home ice win against the Basingstoke Bisons. And then again the next night, a 6-all tie against the Milton Keynes Kings. So this will be in their favor as well.
3.5 minutes gone in the second period. Still 2-all here in the Kirkcaldy ice rink, as the Steelers get it out of the defensive zone, and surely there'll be an icing call here to take the puck right back behind or adjacent to their own goal. And once again, David Graham could be under pressure. Look at the fans here. They're colourful in the extreme, and certainly we know who they're supporting here in the Kirkcaldy ice rink. They're enjoying that, mixing the colours perhaps a bit, but certainly making their presence felt behind their team, the Five Flyers here in the Kirkcaldy ice rink.
That's extra special, Tony, as well, with the Fife Flyers being the only Scottish team in the Premier Division now.
So, Here come the Sheffield Steelers. Tony Hand in possession to Nemeth. Gets it away. Steelers taking it out. Can't get it out of their defensive zone. Tony Hand to Kelland. Steelers having to battle here. Kelland gets it out to Tony Hand. Away goes Steve Nemeth with the shot, gets it away, seems to be brought down. No call from the referee as the puck runs loose. Sticks are broken behind the net, and away comes Morrison, taken into the boards. Palmer skating in front of him, gets the opportunity. And where we go. 5 Flyers. Morris, in fact, tries to chase it, but it's cleared away behind his own net by O'Connor. And it flipped up the ice by Tony Hand. Away to Marsden. Marsden's going to chase it as both teams change on the fly here. 5 minutes of the period gone. Away come the Flyers. Deep into the attacking zone, brought down by Graham and held there tightly.
We were speaking about Davy Graham beforehand. All 6'3" of them. And this is maybe a prime example of the type of stature that a good goalkeeper can carry. He's very big. He takes up a good percentage of that net, but more importantly, his style, or the way that he tends to face shots or shooters, is that he goes down. In other words, he tries to block the bottom part of the net purely on the mass of the equipment that he carries. Because he's so tall, he obviously covers the top part of the net as well. But most teams, interestingly enough, they'll have one goalkeeper that goes down. In other words, he plays the game by flopping, and they'll have another goaltender that stands up. So the two styles contrast, and they tend to use them depending on the type of team they're playing against.
And the team the Flyers are playing against are the Steelers, who have Ron Schuster in possession, trying to set his team away with Tony Hand. Neil Abel is with him. Just over 5 minutes gone on the period. 2-2 here in this Benson and Hedges semi-final first leg. Eager skating forward there by Les Milley, but he's thwarted by the determined Flyers defence. Steelers have 2 men back on point. If they can get it back there, they're going to shove away. But Flyers are battling. Both teams are battling. Robertson brings it away to Wilson down the left wing. King's coming in here. Robertson tries to dummy his man. Good defensive work there by Ron Shudra. Keeps the puck in against the boards. A welcome breather for both of them here. Tactics changing a shade, Bob, in this period. One gets the feeling the Steelers are getting the puck deep and chasing it.
They are. Alex Dampier continuing to go with 3 lines. He's not making any transition in that direction whatsoever. On the other hand, the Fife Flyers, we haven't seen much action from the youngsters. The young kids that they have there who do a very good job, but rather Craig Wilson coming up on that second line, playing alongside Ian Robertson. And you can see the controversy and concern on Alex Dampier's face, because they're just throwing a spanner into the works here.
So, still 2-2 here, all to play for. A second leg to come, of course, down at Sheffield in a week's time. But the Flyers here are determined to make their presence felt. The Sheffield fans are making themselves heard in this arena, almost as much perhaps as they might do down at Sheffield, where it's much bigger. The capacity here at Fife, the Scots are here. Look at that hat. No pipes, just the drums here this evening in the Kirkcaldy ice rink. Well, the Steelers have got their drum corps as well, and here comes Nicky Chin. Stumbles somewhat, but the Flyers on the edge of their own brew line. The fans are getting upset about this one as the linesman waves it on, but here comes Chris Kelland to build again for the Steelers. Hard skating Kelland over the red line, goes through between 2 men. Excellent cover there by Derek King to set Rob Morrison away. Can he do it again? Morrison is hooked down here. The penalty call, I think, by the referee. And certainly we're going to get a power play here once again for the Fife Flyers.
A couple of questionable situations, but at the end of the day, we get the call on Mike O'Connor of the Sheffield Steelers. And it looks as though he's going to sit 2 minutes. Mark Morrison just going in over the blue line, trying to make a little bit of a turnaround.
The penalty actually called on Tommy Plummer, 2 minutes for tripping. In fact, O'Connor managing to avoid it. Perhaps he was as guilty as Plummer, but Plummer's the man in the box.
Plummer coming through there too on a back-checking mission, and as a result of that, you know, he tried to do his job there because he knows the importance of Mark Morrison, especially when it comes to going around the net.
Well, the chance of a foul play then. The third foul play of the match so far for the Fife Flyers. But Sheffield in determined mood to kill these penalties. And I must say that certainly so far this season they've had plenty of opportunity to do so. But here come the Flyers on their home ring. The drums behind them. Morrison with Morris. Morris on the edge of the crease. Can he get it back? Morrison behind the goal. The help goes in from Palmer. The big guns are out for the Flyers. Reid is on point. There goes the shot in from Marsden. Whacked clear from behind his own net, but Nemeth is chasing that, seems to be brought down by Morris. That doesn't impress the referee as the Flyers come away again. Still 2-2. Palmer gets it into Morris, and somehow playing safe is Dave Graham as he gets down from all of that 6 foot 3 or so, right down onto the ice.
A bit of a threshold for the refereeing in this game, and the call on Tommy Plummer, perhaps a lot would say, was maybe a bit controversial. We had a number of issues just around this particular call that Fraser, the referee tonight, decided to let go and not have happen. As a result of that, Plummer maybe got caught a little out of place there, finds himself sitting for 2 minutes. He won't be pleased with that call, especially, you know, in light of what has transpired.
One or two of those Sheffield fans may think, well, Drew Fraser, the referee, comes from only just up the road at Dundee. Maybe he's just perhaps got a little bit of Scottish flavour about him, Bob.
You can see by the intensity of Tim Cranston going into that face-off circle, he realizes the importance of a face-off, especially in his own zone.
Well, it's still in his own zone as the Flyers have that power play. They have the numerical advantage. They get it out to point, but somehow it comes... Oh, no, it's brilliantly kept in by Marsden into the zone. Morris round behind the net to Robertson. Robertson has Palmer with him. Palmer can't get the shot away. It's cleared away by the Steelers. There's Millie to Cranston. Cranston skating powerfully, has Millie with him. Chance of a short-handed goal. Shot goes in. But back they come because away come the Flyers. Crowd behind them. Morris skating hard. But Cranston skating harder. A lovely piece of work there by Cranston. Cranston, of course, one-time a Durham player. His third season with Sheffield and certainly showing his club spirit there. The puck cleared out of the Steelers' defensive zone. Still the power play. The way of Fife Flyers as Steelers change on the fly. 4 new faces back on the ice. Morrison, score of the second goal. Assist on the first for Fife. The player coach playing his part on and off the ice. Steve King round behind the net, whacked away by Ron Shudra. Up into the netting and the puck killed dead with a face-off in the corner. And Tommy Plummer now back on the ice. And that brings the Steelers back to strength. They've killed yet another penalty.
The Sheffield Steelers will be looking to that gentleman, Ken Priestley, to try and create some offensive punch here in this 2-all game in this period. One of the important things about playing in the Fife ice rink is there is no plexiglass around this. And as a result of that, you'll see errant pucks and they end up going off the ice surface and into the crowd, which isn't a major problem, but what it does is it does disrupt the tone of play, and players that are used to having that as part of the game find it sometimes very difficult to adjust.
But the Flyers back to cover there from a powerful bit of skating by Nemeth. But it's the Steelers again coming away with Neil Abel, who flicks the puck or tries to into the attacking zone. Once again, they're going to rebuild with Ron Shudra. Shudra skating hard, tries to find Tony Hand. Hand fails to regain control, and Shudra has to pick it up again. Steelers pulling it out of the area, out of their defensive zone. Played right across the ice to Tony Hand. Hand flicks it in. Priestley skating hard. Covers there from the eager Fife Flyers. Nemeth has it round behind the net. Can he find a man on the edge of the crease? Somehow McCrone gets his stick around to deflect the puck away. Nemeth holds it up well. Looking for Shudra on point. Gets round behind the net. Can they get it out? It's whacked away as McCrone fails to gain control of that. And really the effort from Ron Shudra and Tony Hand in there certainly meant that they had an opportunity to get a third for the Steelers. Play up the other end, Steve King. Can he get the shot away? He does this time, surely, Steve King. Yes, he does. A brilliant effort to make it 3-2 to the Flyers. And somehow Steve King found space. And somehow David Graham didn't see that one.
Some controversy here on whether or not that puck actually went in the net. Little over anticipation. Stephen King finds himself in alone on Davy Graham. He lets the shot go, and that goes into the upper part of the net. Yes, that's in.
Well, it appears as if the referees have ruled that out, and they didn't have the benefit of our replay, because as far as we could see, that certainly went into the net.
Well, on the replay, there is no question that that puck went in the back of the net and came out again, but right from the onslaught, there has been some controversy. The goal judge, who sits behind the net, actually waved it off after the shot had taken place. So as a result of that, the referee has no alternative but to nullify the goal.
That's fucking brutal. That's the goal.
Well, certainly great disappointment for the Five Flyers, because the referee disallowing that one. It was the goal judge that decided it didn't go in. The referee relying on the goal judge.
Stephen
the referee
King
saying,
in alone. We can see that that puck is clearly in, but it's the guy behind the net, the goal judge, that has made the decision for the referee.
well, the decision is made. Could that affect the outcome here? The referee has been called back. The linesmen are having a chat with the referee. And certainly, as far as we're concerned, we can see it in the net. Well, I think we can have another look at it here with Bob.
There's the shot. That's up the stairs. That's come right back out of the net.
Well, the referee has changed his mind and awarded a goal to the Five Flyers. There's no doubt about it that Steve King's shot went into the net. Of course, they don't have the benefit of the replays that we have, but the referee has finally been convinced that that puck went into the net, and I think justice has been done. I think we can have a look at it once again.
Stephen King letting that shot go. Even from that angle, you can see it's gone into the back of the net.
The goal, in fact, has been given, and Sky Sports have been proved absolutely right. Steve King scoring the goal, and Morrison getting the assist, which means he has a share of all 3 goals. The Scots fans are certainly happy with that one.
That will give a lift to the Five Flyers, but you can see the argument coming out of Chris Kellan, because he sees that the referee has changed his mind, and that's what's creating the controversy.
Just coming up to halfway through the match, but no doubt in our mind that Steve King scored that one. And for Steve King, that was his 15th goal in the Benson Hedges tournament so far this year. And certainly, where the Englishmen are concerned, or the Scotsmen are concerned, certainly justified. Bob, a situation which we've seen there, does that happen very often?
It doesn't, but quite clearly in the North American game, in a professional game in North America in the NHL, they actually now go to replays to try and justify these situations. It doesn't happen very often, but it can happen.
Well, we know up here that the referee was absolutely right, as here the icing call is waved on, and away we go round behind the net as the Flyers come away. The Flyers' spirits are lifted here. Derek King gains possession, gets the puck right round and clears it out of his defensive zone, where Mike O'Connor picks it up for the Steelers. They've got to come back again here. But here we go round the back of the net. Can they win it as puck comes loose, but Nicky Chin chases it round behind the net to Palmer to get the clearance as far as King again. Can King add to his telly? And Steelers are going to bring it out through Chris Kellan. Controversy here in the Capaldi ice rink, but no such controversy as Palmer wins possession, gets the slap shot away. It's so powerful it knocks Dave Graham over. Puck comes out of the Steelers' defensive zone to allow the influential Mark Morrison to set up. Palmer again has Morris on the far edge of the crease, but Chin comes across in the nick of time there, and the danger cleared away as here comes Scotty Neal with Tony Hand. Hand gets the slap shot, kicked away by McGrone. Neal knocks it back, wide of the post. The challenge is on round behind the net. Spirits being raised. A fantastic game of ice hockey here in Capaldi as Mike O'Connor gets the shot away. Palmer affects the clearance, clears the danger again back to Kellan. The hard-skating defenseman clears out of his defensive zone. Tommy Plummer, love big collision, heavy one as Kellan breaks down the left. Kellan gets the shot away, but it's so powerful it comes to send Palmer away. Morris is with him. Can Morris get the shot away? Palmer does from a narrow angle, and the danger cleared. Penalty call here. This time on Cranston again, and once again the Steelers are going to be short-handed. And once again, let us have a chance to show you how we can tidy up that last goal. We know it was a goal.
Stephen King with that shot. We can see from this angle it went in the back of the net and come right back out again. But that's a goal in anybody's books.
Well, Stephen King was the scorer of it. For Stephen King, well, he'll remember that one because it was his 15th Benson and Hedges goal. And now Cranston is back in the box. Another power play opportunity for the Five Flyers. And we've been playing just under 32 minutes of this match. Just under 12 minutes of this period. The power play is with the Five Flyers. And it's the hard skating and very busy Mark Morrison, but surely there'll be an offside call here unless the Steelers clear it, and they do. Chris Kellen round behind his own net. Tim Cranston is in the box. Nemeth on the chase. Here come the short-handed Steelers. Schubert taken down. Oh dear, all sorts of muddles there in front of the Five Flyers net. Kept out ball by luck and judgment. Here come the Flyers. Power play for the Flyers. Palmer nips it in, and Morris. Brilliant save by Dave Graham there. How he got that, nobody will know.
Mark Morrison being the trailer on that play. That is the guy you have got to watch. He gets a nice little pass from Chris Palmer here, and he finds himself in alone on Davy Graham, who makes a nice sprawling two-pad save to cover up. Morrison in, all alone. Davy Graham comes up with the goods.
Down in front of us, Big Doug Marsden comes over to the timekeeper's bench to find out how long there is to go on that penalty for Cranston. This time Kellen comes and asks the same question. Cranston knows that Cranston's inquiring himself. The players don't see a penalty clock here in this Kirkcaldy ice rink, and that's certainly different from many rinks we go to these days, Bob.
There's supposedly a new clock coming into the ice rink up here in Kirkcaldy, but at the moment, they can't tell how much is left on their penalties.
Just over 7 minutes of the period remaining. Here come the Flyers on the power play. Marsden, Morrison is with him. Palmer on the far edge of the crease. Steelers keep their composure. Flick the puck right up the ice where McCrone has to get down, and he has to hold that one to concede a face-off in his own defensive zone. Quite a game here. Kirkcaldy Five Flyers, they have 3. Sheffield Steelers have 2. Controversy, good goals, plenty of good hockey here.
John McCrone coming into this game with an 85.3% save average. The former Air player would have looked up in that situation. He would have saw that that was Ken Priestley coming in. He's not going to take any chances. He's going to hang on to that puck, because if that puck comes loose, you'll know where that's going to be going, especially with Ken Priestley around.
Well, we're certainly waiting to see. I'm sure the Steelers are Cranston back on the ice, because it's his second penalty of the game, and they certainly count against the Steelers. We saw it in Europe. We're seeing it here tonight. Slap shot gets away there from Priestley for the short-handed Steelers. Knocked down behind the net, held there by Doug Marsden. 20 is Ian Robertson, the captain. The trailer is Wilson. Wilson gets the shot in. That's an easier one, taken well by Dave Graham. Graham certainly playing his part here tonight, with shots raining in on him in this period. Perhaps the Steelers are outshot in the first period, or the Flyers were outshot in the first period, but probably not this one. Dave Graham, 36 years old, former coach in the Midlands down at Solihull, and certainly relieving himself or changing his the course of his ice hockey for the moment, Bob.
Well, he's in the hockey hotbed at the moment. There's no question about that, and that's a tough situation for any goalkeeper to come in, and he's doing a good job.
Tony Hand tries to clear it only as far as Marsden. Back to Marsden. Marsden has Morrison going in on the crease, gets it back on the point, where in goes the shot from Blues and kept down well by Graham there, who reads that one well. He has a hot left hand, does Big Dave Graham tonight.
Lots of action in front of him as well. That puck coming back to the point. Scott Blues takes the slap shot. Frank Morris right there for a rebound, but Davy Graham covers up.
So, just over 6 minutes remaining on the period as Dave Graham, he'll know that left hand when he gets in that dressing room at the end of this period. He'll know he's done some work with it. Away behind the net, and still arguing about the goal of Sheffield Steelers. They're not too happy about that, but if they were sitting where we were, they'd have known full well that it was in the net. And certainly the man that will remember it is Steve King. Here come the Steelers. The valuable Tim Cranston is back on the ice, but surely the icing call will take the puck right back up the ice, back into the Sheffield defensive zone once again.
This will give Alex Dampier, coach of the Sheffield Steelers, an opportunity to try and regroup now. Now that he's back at full strength, he'll try and settle his team down, says, fellas, let's get ourselves back to the way that we started this game. Let's get back into our game plan, and let's get ourselves motivated once again.
Just over 6 minutes remaining on the period. 3-2 to the Flyers. If they were going to take the scoreline down to Sheffield, Bob, well, what would you be looking for?
Well, any sort of victory, even if they go down to Sheffield in a tie situation, you know, that to me is a feather in their cap. They've done a tremendous job keeping in mind the type of club that Sheffield actually have.
Well, it's certainly keen and enthusiastic here, and we, of course, remember that the Cardiff Devils won at Sheffield 4-2 in the second leg of the quarter-final, but that wasn't enough because they were well down from the first leg. But certainly controversy reigning here in the Kirkcaldy ice rink, and the goal judge didn't seem to know whether he'd gone in or not. We did, and the referee eventually gave it the only goal of the second period so far. 3-2 to the Flyers. Away come the Steelers. Steve Nemeth, so influential. Nicky Chinn with the chase. The clearance affected very quickly there by Derek King. Robertson chases it for Flyers. Sometimes the Steelers have been penned back in their defensive zone, and that doesn't happen to them too often these days. Kellan it is behind his own net for the Steelers. Nemeth fires it left, looking for Ron Shudra. Shudra loses possession. Wilson flicks it back. Robertson goes in where it counts. Steve King fails to gather on the far side as he appears to be brought down, but here come the Steelers. Fast skating there by Scott Neal. Takes the puck into their attacking zone, but Flyers come back well. Steve King scored the third goal. One of the more prolific Scottish goal scorers so far this season in the Benson and Hedges Cup is Steve King, and that goal tonight was his 15th in the Benson and Hedges. He'll remember the night as Nicky Chinn, a Welshman, comes away for the Steelers. Nemeth is with him. McGrone watches it away. 5 minutes remaining on the period, or just under. As Flyers come out, Morris has a man on the far side, but skating in much too quickly was Palmer, and the offside call a narrow one.
Chris Palmer having the opportunity to play with him last year, where he played with us in Edinburgh, the Murrayfield Racers. A tremendous player and a very gifted scorer. There's no question about him. You give him that opportunity in front of the net, he's going to put the puck inside the net.
Yes, well, the 29-year-old wants a New Jersey draft, I believe, in the National Hockey League. Certainly an impressive player here on the night, Chris Palmer. As the Steelers get it away, Plummer, an impressive player, tries to trap a puck that wasn't passed out too well to him and fails to do so. But the Steelers come away. Cranston looking to provide the pass for the hard-skating Plummer. Plummer is taken out well by Marsden.
A very concise game plan is coming forward here on behalf of the Fife Flyers. They're not so concerned about Sheffield coming out of their zone, but one thing for sure is they're not going to be outnumbered in their own zone. They've always got 3 men black to try and counterattack anything that Sheffield may have coming forward 3 strong. Sheffield must, in turn around and say to themselves, we've got to be looking for defensemen or late players coming into the game to get the shot on the goalkeeper.
Well, this ice rink of nearly 60 years old is almost full to capacity here tonight, and they're certainly getting value for money. It's Fife Flyers 3, Sheffield Steelers 2. Away come the Steelers. Les Billy, formerly with Fife. Little Scott gets the puck in across in front of the net, but it's ruled out. And there's a penalty call here on the Flyers, which is going to give the Steelers a power play, and that could be a valuable chance to pull a goal back here. So, a chance for a power play for the Sheffield Steelers. And the valuable talent of Chris Palmer is going to the box with 2 minutes for hooking, and that means the first power play of the game coming the way of the Sheffield Steelers.
Alex Dampier making changes. He's got his big guns out there now, Tony Hand, Ken Priestley, and Steve Nemeth. But one of the interesting things is that he actually had Tommy Plummer, Les Milley, and Tim Cranston back together. He's trying to go back to old ways now. He feels that they'll work better together and try and get this game moving in a positive direction.
Well, the man that got the penalty actually was, in fact, 47 Frank Morris, who went to the penalty box for 2 minutes to give Steelers that power play. Well, there is Frank Morris, the 32-year-old who was brought up in Canada, and certainly waving at the camera there. Frank Morris in the box, a former Ayr, Telford and Murrayfield player, but now playing in the 5 colours.
Frank's been around the British game for 9 years now, and he's a big, strong competitor, and certainly a very big part of this Fife lineup, and a good signing over the summer.
So, Steelers on their power play. Shudra gets it in. Round to Hand, and the back of the goal. So, here come the Steelers on the power play. Ron Shudra, the captain. Priestley's going into the zone. Marsden misses it. Kellen coming round behind his own net. Fish the puck out to 2 men on point, one of which is Steve Nemeth, scorer of their first goal. Kellen gets it right across to Ron Shudra. Shudra gets his shot away. McGrone knocks it down. Round behind the net. 3 minutes remaining on the period as Tony Hand tries to create a chance. Still keeps the puck in. Kellen, 21, gets it back to Nemeth on point. For Sheffield, can they fashion a power play goal here? Ron Shudra gets the shot away. Hand reads it well as it takes a deflection off Steve King. Hand knows he's got Nemeth back there, turns it round behind the net. If they could get it out, there are 2 men on point. One of them is Ron Shudra. Shudra gets the shot away. Hand looks for the deflection. Eventually, Priestley gets the shot away, which is off target. Just over 2 minutes remaining on the period. Can they get the shot away? Nemeth played round the boards, and the puck eventually goes out.
The Fife Flyers playing very disciplined on this penalty kill. Anytime that puck pops loose and they realize that they're not going to have an opportunity to either shoot it down the ice or gain possession, they immediately go right back into their box coverage in their own zone. This is a good disciplined style of play, and it's forcing Sheffield to keep the puck outside and around that box area, and as a result of that, not getting the good scoring opportunities that they're looking for.
So, with just over 2 minutes remaining on the period, just the 1 goal so far in the second period, a disputed one for Fife Flyers as Sheffield continue to come forward on the power play. Can they level it up before the end of the period? Steelers need to get it back in, and they do through Cranston. Palmer seems to knock him off it using his stick. Touch of hooking there, comes out as far as Shudra. Morris is back on the ice, the power play ends. Successful piece of penalty killing there by the Fife Flyers, but still Sheffield can get it forward. Can they break? Yes, they do. It's Palmer down the left, has Morris inside him. Morrison is with him too. Morrison knocks it down, but the clearance from Shudra just in time saves the day for the Sheffield Steelers. Up against the boards. Round goes the puck behind the net. Kellen has it for the Steelers. Round to Nicky Chin. Chin hasn't been in this game much so far tonight, but he is now as he comes down the right wing. Cuts inside. Retains possession, but it's cleared out of the defensive zone by Morrison. O'Connor comes forward for Sheffield. Shakes off 2 men, takes the puck deep into the corner, gets it out to the blue line. The day is saved with just over a minute remaining on the period. Here comes Kelland. The puck fired deep behind the red line as the Steelers chase it in. We're in the last minute of the second period. Only 1 goal so far. 3-2 to Fife Flyers. Steve King, the scorer.
Icing the call on that play. The puck going all the way down into Fife territory. The Sheffield Steelers will be trying to regroup during this second intermission. One of the things that they're going to be talking about is, fellas, we got to get back to team effort here. We cannot win this game if we try and play it individually. We have to work as a unit out there.
So 45 seconds remaining on the period. As the puck is cleared up the ice, the icing call will take it back down again, and once again the Sheffield Steelers have the chance of a face-off adjacent to the Five Flyers goal.
At the moment, Ian Robertson and the rest of his teammates will be saying to themselves, we've won this period 1-0. That's got to be positive, and we'll be taking that with us into this intermission.
And Palmer once again on the ice, spending so much time on the ice tonight, the 29-year-old former Murrayfield player is back on to play his part with just over half a minute remaining. The Flyers get it out. Hard skating captain Ian Robertson keeps the puck in. Can he get the shot away? He does, but it's wide. Half a minute remaining as Millie takes it round behind his own net. Kellen with him. Nemeth flicks it out of the defensive zone with just 20 seconds remaining. The puck cleared right up the ice, no icing call as Graham gets the end of his stick to that. Can the Steelers produce a goal? In possession, Plummer, a last chance of the period surely. The Hooter about to go any second, and it does. And the cheers here belong to the Five Flyers supporters at the end of the second period, because their team goes in with 20 minutes remaining on the match, leading by 3-2. The only goal of the period, a disputed one, scored by Steve King. The assist to the busy Mark Morrison, the player coach, who's had handed all 3 goals. It's Flyers 3, Steelers 2.